Coin drop. Screen flash. The high score. Boss laugh.
Thumb sore, same fight. Lost track of the time all night. Snacks gone, eyes red. Still shouting one more instead. Distracted gamers, press start. Button mashing from the heart. Round one, game on. We get hit, go harder. Distracted gamers, press start.
You know what? Despite the fact I distracted myself because I could hear the podcast in the background.
Oh, good lord.
I was keeping an eye on the podcast on my cell phone, and it started playing, and I had a itch. I had such a cool introduction. See, this is the problem with this podcast. We're so unprofessional.
Wow, we're doing great.
What was it? My thumbs are sore, and this is the same fight, much like the intro song says, that we have every week. If you can't tell, Red has created his own internal narrative because it's fun for him. That we are fighters in a dystopian future in a conflict with horror, space, corporate, cyberpunk, something. Anyway. And it pleases me because it's the same dang fight every week. It's the same fight over media. It's the same fight over movies. It's the same fight over video games. It's the same discussion because it's the same problems. I would be more than happy to discuss things I love. Movies I love. Because believe it or not, oh man, I would have loved a really good Odyssey.
Yeah, you would have been target audience, you and me both, I guess.
It would have tickled me to no end.
Mm-hmm.
A really good Odyssey. I am the one that they want. If it was amazing, I would have bought like background stuff so I could watch it. I'd have had posters. I'd have been a shill. I'd have been advocating this film to the ends of the earth. But we are in a different world. We are in the parallel world where not everything works out. And not everything pleases Rhett's liking. Even though I'm the protagonist, have they not heard?
I mean, come on. Then you'd get with the program.
If you're not playing into the game to cater to Rhett's interests, you've become his enemy.
You have offended him personally and deeply.
I like how it becomes some sort of crazy narcissistic monster.
It's like... Well, it all started with your musical groups.
Yeah. My failed musical career and just bitterness at the band breaking up. It was all Silver's drama.
It was.
Oh.
She wasn't tall enough for Rhett and the Tall People. Regardless, me and Ross labored to some degree, probably me more than Ross. But much like Odysseus in his labors and his trials, we labored over how to have this discussion. Because believe it or not, there's going to be 40 billion reviews of this movie. And they're going to go over exhaustive flaws and problems and issues. And much like the problem that happens on the internet, what you want to hear is what you're going to find. So if you want somebody to reinforce your belief that the movie's going to be terrible, you're going to find those people. And if you want people to praise and suckle at the teat that is Christopher Nolan, they're out there, man. They're going to make you sound like this is the greatest cinema experience of all time. And whatever you want this movie to be, this movie's gonna be the movie you want it to be. Unfortunately so. Which is unfortunate when it comes to a lot of these things where as a movie becomes divisive, it becomes a conflict zone. and that people will love it simply for the sake of, I don't like the people that dislike it. And people will hate it simply because they don't like the people that are going to like it. I heard one of the probably the fairest responses to this is the culture war aspects of the Odyssey and people complaining about Helen of Troy or Elliot Page or Zendaya or all the other issues with the movie have become a massive distraction over whether or not we discuss if the movie is actually good. Whether or not the plot makes sense, whether or not the story flows, whether or not it's accurate to the source material, all of these aspects get colored by Helen of Troy being black. And it becomes the stupid talking point where I decide to see the movie solely based on principle, not based upon whether or not there's any detailed discussion on the plot or whether or not there's anything valuable to glean from the film. So I thought, instead of becoming another channel that has another massive review of the movie, especially since I don't really want to see it, and I probably would have only seen it if we were going to do a review, and Ross is going to go see it, but hasn't had the chance yet.
Yeah, family stuff. Sorry.
Now I've seen multiple reviews. I know what happens in the movie. I know the plot. I know the ending. And what's probably more valid is a discussion about whether or not you should see it. Because when it comes to the drama around the film and what you want to get out of this movie, you're going to get out of it what you want to. So I welcome you to this discussion because our goal here isn't to, because there are plenty of podcasts that are going to do that, isn't to review, to lambast how inaccurate it is, to criticize that they're not respectful to the Greek culture, or to talk about how amazing a cinematographer Christopher Nolan is and how brilliant a filmmaker and all that stuff. What we're here to discuss together is, as if you have walked into the room and you're friends of ours, whether or not, if you asked us, should I see the Odyssey, whether or not you should. And the thing with the Odyssey is you'll like it or dislike it based upon a few factors. Now, I saw somebody try and break it down as, if you know the story of the Odyssey, is this going to be the movie where if you know the story of the Odyssey, you're going to hate it, and if you don't and like Christopher Nolan, you're going to like it? And in a lot of ways, that's true. If you know the story of the Odyssey, it is not a faithful retelling. It's just not. Yeah. It changes. To give you the list, the plot is inaccurate. Plot and storytelling. The dialogue is inaccurate. The casting is inaccurate. The lighting and scenery are inaccurate to Greece. The armor is inaccurate. The weapons are inaccurate. The ships are inaccurate. The architecture is inaccurate. The theme of the movie is not the theme of the Odyssey.
What a thing to miss, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, sort of the core point of the story of why this story's been told over and over and over again for years. Because one thing you'll find as I'm rereading the Iliad at the moment, one thing you'll find with these ancient Greek tales, there's themes and storytellings, and there's usually a message. If you go to Aesop's Fables, if you read the Iliad, there's usually a message to be told. And the reason why Homer's stories are so much more important than even just basic Greek mythology is because they explain something that's vital to ancient Greek history, which modern audiences seem to misunderstand. The Iliad and the Odyssey, and to a lesser extent the Aeneid, are vitally important to understanding how the Greeks saw themselves, their relationship with the world, and their relationship with gods. And in many ways, that's more important to us understanding the ancient Greeks than is even mythological tales of Zeus having relations with a goose. As fun as that is, Ross.
And it is fun. It's very hilarious, all the gross mythological tales from Greece.
Because one thing you'll find is the gods are very petty.
Yes.
They're very selfish and self-centered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of the problem. If you're somebody who's interested in this film, that's sort of a problem if you understand the story of the Odyssey that the movie heavily lacks, is the relationship with the gods. The Odyssey, the original story, is intertwined heavily with the gods interfering in the events of men.
Yeah.
And Odysseus's journey is heavily colored by the gods interfering in his journey. Zeus showing up and Athena showing up and Aphrodite starting the whole thing. And it's funny because much as me and Ross discuss this and try not to turn this into a review because it would be disingenuous. But we have to discuss the plot to some degree to discuss the inaccuracies. The movie has a different theme and tone, and it seems the tone essentially is the violence of men and Odysseus's PTSD from the war and his guilt. The essential story of the actual story of Homer's poems is a heroic journey of somebody trying to get home, and that his problems by and large occur because of his arrogance and hubris and pride.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that the gods sort of insert themselves on occasion to either assist or unassist, which is funny. The relationship that the Greeks have with their gods is they don't all have the same intentions towards everybody. And
No.
In the Greek world.
It's definitely the gods are basically human, but superpowered. And so they have the same qualities that humans have. The same pettiness, the same shortcomings, the same pride, everything. It's just that they're on a higher level as far as what they can do because they're superpowered. They're the gods.
I mean, even the story itself, it seems they're trying to reinterpret this as Helen of Troy leaving her husband for Paris and, I guess, angry men and the violence incurred. And in the actual poem, Aphrodite causes the Trojan War.
Yeah.
Because she promises the most beautiful woman in the world to Paris because Paris chose her in an apple choosing contest. It's a very silly story. And
Greek story? Silly? Really?
Greek stories are inherently silly, you guys. and sort of that's sort of the theme of this, is the movie seems to want to interpret or tell a story it wants to tell, and it seems to be ignoring the core theme and tone of what they're trying to say in the first place. Like, as somebody who's very familiar with the Iliad, because I've read it, the Iliad is themed by, like, arrogance and hubris. Sort of seeking self-glory and that downfall. And it's an important story for past generations because it's sort of a warning down the line of the thousands of years since this story was put down. And I think it's an important one. That's why it's a valid story that we can relate to today, of somebody's arrogance bringing about their downfall as they could have related to it 3,000 years ago. I think reinterpreting that is a flaw. I think reinterpreting what the original intention of trying to tell that is relatable across generations is a shitty thing to do. But I don't want to overly, how do I phrase this? I don't want to insert myself into it too much. What this brought about was a thought of how important really is staying close to the source material in the end, and how this colors sort of the movie we have here today. Because a knee-jerk reaction to say, well, it's your job to honor the source material. But the problem is, I can point to you of a lot of movies that don't honor the source material very well that are better than the source material. And I can point to you movies that do honor the source material that are bad. So it's kind of a give and take. Like, where is this line? And I'm going to turn it over to you guys to sort of think or ruminate over this discussion. Because how important is it to honor the original source material as we're facing a movie that seems to want to reinterpret it into a way? He wants to tell a story he wants to tell, and that's not the story the Odyssey was telling, the original.
Mm. It's definitely a tightrope to walk, right? So, I mean, like you said, we can point to adaptations that are more faithful to the source material. I mean, there's famously some Stephen King adaptations.
Oh,
and we have some of the same book.
The Shining is the perfect example. Because Stephen King hates The Shining, and The Shining's better than the book.
Yes, and then the Shining TV series that he did, the miniseries, awful, not very good.
And he says it's the most accurate recreation of his original work. And it's like, oh, dude, well, then your book sucks, Stephen King, because The Shining's amazing. And no, we shouldn't hold to what you were doing before. Anyway, sorry to bogart your point.
No, you're good. And there are like The Shining is a good example where sometimes the person doing the adaptation can rip out something that speaks to broader audiences a little bit more. I mean broader audiences, but speaks to the movie-going audience, I should say, more than perhaps what is initially intended with the book, let's say. And can pick and choose, and it works out really well, and can sometimes ascend over the source material. That's absolutely a thing. It's harder and harder to do, I would say, at least in my opinion. I mean, the famous examples are, and I think there's a distinct thing, like a distinct difference between some of these adaptations, like. For instance, very famously, Lord of the Rings is kind of touted as one of the better adaptations of some, to be completely truthful, very difficult source material to work with.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is very dense. It's very detailed. It's a lot. And Jackson was able to make some hard decisions and give us both the theatrical version and the extended versions, which are very, very good. Now, I will say this. There were almost some decisions made for those movies that would have made them much worse. Yeah. Yes. They were like a gnat's ass away from making much worse films.
Oh, all of the extra content filmed for Arwen at the Two Towers. And...
Yeah, dumb, stupid idea. Really bad.
She had a lot of combat scenes, and
remember, folks, those elves were supposed to show up with her. As little sense as that makes.
But that wasn't in the book. But he cut a lot of stuff out of the books.
I mean, yes, famously Tom Bombadil. I mean, there's whole even outside of Tom Bombadil.
Willow, there's
like entire ranger people from the north and Gondorians, and there's the Knights of the Swan or whatever. They're just gone. They don't exist in the movies. But those were made for trimming purposes to keep the movie as svelte and pointed as possible. And I think those kinds of choices, as hard as they can be, and frankly, there's probably a lot of source material that they could try to work with that it's perhaps impossible. And I think for a long time that was Lord of the Rings was considered to be that.
Well, and funny enough, Tolkien would have hated the movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably, yeah.
Wouldn't have liked them at all. And, that's fine. But, they ended up making pretty much all the correct decisions, I would say. I mean, there's a few things here and there that,
I mean,
but,
as almost perfect as those movies are, I have criticisms.
oh, of course. Legolas being a big one for me.
Yeah.
Not that he's there, but how they treat him.
Yeah, surfing Legolas down the stairs is a big problem for me.
And the Oliphant trunk.
Shut up, Silver.
Oh,
Oh.
Freaking
but-
Legolas shill.
they.
But I would contend that of the changes I know of with this Odyssey adaptation, those are not those kinds of choices
No.
at all.
Definitely not. No.
Those are more Arwen at Helm's Deep choices.
Well,
Bad.
it's not even that. He's telling a different story.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's
it
not
goes
the
from,
story of the Odyssey. It doesn't play out the way the Odyssey.
Yeah, and to keep it with the Lord of the Rings thing, arguably Jackson brushed up against that with making Aragorn question his taking over the being king of men, taking over the kingdom of Gondor. Like in the books, he's super into doing that. He has no question in his mind. That is his destiny, and that is what he will do.
Yeah, he's the reluctant hero.
Yeah, whereas in the movie, they make him the reluctant hero. But that's also, Aragorn would come off as such a fucking prick if they just had him be sure of himself right from the beginning.
I
in
am
the
the
movies.
king.
Oh, what an asshole. You got to root for this guy. I mean, at the end of the day, and I'm not going to root for that. That sucks. We only got 3 hours per movie to get used to this guy.
I am the rightful heir of Gondor.
Yeah. It just doesn't work. So, I mean, arguably, Jackson brushed up against that kind of stuff, but not nearly to the degree that this seems to. Just completely, again, it's very early on in the Odyssey, in the book. They piss off Poseidon with Odysseus's hubris. They initially kind of pissed off the gods when they left Troy and didn't do sacrifices right away. And that was kind of an argument amongst the Greeks. And then when he blinds Polyphemus and then takes credit for it as they're sailing away, it bites him in the ass.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. But
No.
That's what's sort of the funny contrast in the original story is there's a degree of heroics, and there's also the degree that a lot of his problems are self-inflicted. He's
Yes.
trying to go through sort of the trials of Odysseus, these famous stories of him trying to make it back home. But a lot of the obstacles he faced become worse because of who he is. And it's this cautionary tale of despite his heroics and being the person he is, his arrogance is bringing about his downfall.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is, I don't know if anyone's noticed, a common theme in Greek myths and stories.
Yeah, it's in the Iliad, it's in the Odyssey. Apparently they were very worried about pride and hubris and self-glory.
Yeah, it's just, it's a big thing for them. And, it's a classic tale for a reason. It's something we see to this day. So that's where I would say
makes it relatable is because modern man could still understand, we're still human beings and we can still understand these flaws and these pitfalls that you can fall into of pride can be your downfall. And it doesn't have to be unrelatable. You can relate to a 3,000-year-old story.
Yes. Yeah. And so I don't know, that for me, that's kind of where the with this adaptation, it is less so that changes were made. You have to. It's a movie. Movie is a different medium than book. On top of that, an ancient story and book, or poem rather. But the choices that were made, the decisions that in these changes are fundamentally at odds with what the story was initially. And I think that is the major problem at the end of the day. I mean, we can point out to all the other stuff, and I like to point out that, like, because for me, the thing, because we didn't know, like, and we can go back on this podcast and show it. The trailers bothered me initially because, God, the movie looks fucking weird. How is this Greece?
It's not.
Like, the armor looks bad. The architecture looked horrendous. This brutalist. I was kind of, and we'll see. Maybe it's we're in the middle of building it. We haven't carved it yet. Like, oh, okay. Maybe that's how they'll explain it. I know that's not, because that's not Nolan's style. But just everything looks like bleak and like dour. And it's not that, there's not those moments, but like, ugh.
We could go down that rabbit hole, but let's at least stay on the theme of adaptations and how important is it to stay close to the source material. Like, there are a lot of movies that are better than the books.
Oh yeah,
a lot of Forrest Gump is not a likable character in the book.
No, he's kind of an asshole. He's not very well likable, and he's not like, he seems like in the movie he makes like good choices, and he's like a nice man and all. Like, whereas in the book, he's like, well, I mean, he's a mentally handicapped man. He makes choices. Sometimes they're the right choice, and other times they're super not. Like, that's how he is. Like,
Who Framed Roger Rabbit was dirtier, if I recall.
Apparently that was way different.
Way different. And then we get this movie, and I think Who Framed Roger Rabbit is an amazing film. A technical marvel. Like, the stuff they were able to pull off filming that thing. And so we could sit here and espouse, it's like, well, they're dishonoring the original source material. Here's where I would push against that claim, where it's like, how it's not that important, it's an old story and stuff. Well, the Odyssey is one of the foundational tales for not just Greek culture, not just Western culture, but storytelling. Like, at its core, it is the quintessential hero's journey. It is the hero's journey.
Yeah.
It is the framework, or the bastion upon which we view all storytelling. So to be like, well, we're trying to modernize it so audiences can relate to it. It's like, without the Odyssey and the Iliad, we don't have superheroes. We don't have basic stories and the structures for basic stories. Like, look at almost any, like Aquaman, freaking Trident, Poseidon, all of it traces back to Greek history and these stories.
Yeah.
I mean, all of Wonder Woman.
Especially Wonder Woman. I
mean, the references, like, you have made references to the Odyssey and you don't know it. Because you're referencing another movie that's referencing the Odyssey. The lotus eaters, the where they eat the flowers and it makes them forget so that they don't want to leave. And I mean, this is cascaded throughout generations upon generations and hundreds and thousands of years. And it can't be understated, because the reason why I'm bringing up this is because we can say, oh, well, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is better than the crappy book. But the big difference is the Odyssey is a vital cultural story. And that's where you run into these obstacles of how important is it to adapt it accurately, because of how important it is to Western society.
Yeah. It's, I mean, as much as we may like some of these other things, whether it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Stephen King books, The Lord of the Rings, even, as important as it is in modern fantasy, probably not as foundationally important as the Odyssey.
Well, does that make it more vital to stay truer to the story because of its importance?
I think that there's obviously a balance that you've got to strike here, because on the one hand, we have the Odyssey, which, as you've pointed out, is a cultural touchstone, and it underpins so many things in our culture. It is so important to modern literature, to modern storytelling. It's that important. It is so important. It has resonated through our culture from the time it was written to now. Uh, if people didn't think that the Odyssey was still important, we wouldn't even be having this conversation because nobody would make it into a movie. It would have been shelved years ago, and people would have just washed their hands of it. But on the other hand, you have these other books that get adapted, and the faithfulness to the adaptation can fluctuate, and we can get maybe a great movie out of it or a bad movie out of it. I was remembering Robinson Crusoe. I read that years ago. The book is terrible. It is so boring, but the movie is good. And it depending on which one you look at, they more or less stick to the formula of man shipwreck, ends up on island, learns to survive. So it like I said, it's a hard balancing act there, because on the one hand, you have something that is so important to our culture that to say, no, we can't adapt this in any way that is unfaithful, that feels like maybe just too totalitarian there. It's like, no, we can't. But we know that people have adapted the Odyssey into other formats that have worked, and but have honored the source material and things even while they have made their adaptation. I'm thinking of
imagine adapting Moby Dick, and half of it is just a lesson on how to be a sailor.
Yes.
Right, this is how you tie a knot, and then he's going to spend like 20 minutes showing you how to tie the correct knot for sailing on a ship at that time. You bring up adaptations, Jason. We talk about honoring the source material, getting inaccurate, following a story. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou is an adaptation of the Odyssey.
Yeah.
And you could go, well, it's inaccurate. It's a different time. They're disrespecting the source material. There are black people in the story. There are minorities in this. It's wholly inaccurate. But the problem is there's leniency granted to that movie because it's not trying to be historically placed. It's trying to adapt. If Christopher Nolan made a sci-fi cyberpunk story about the Odyssey, and he called it his adaptation or interpretation of the Odyssey, I would probably be, and I think a lot of criticism would probably be less angry.
Yeah, it would go away.
Because he's not claiming that this is placed at the time contextually where it's supposed to be. Like, no one would have a problem if Helen of Troy was black in a future version of the Odyssey. But this is historically placed at the time when the story should take place. And then it's subject to criticism because they're not a diverse people.
It's not only subject to criticism, but it's because of that, but because of the fact that he claims to be putting it in the historical context. And it's like, well, if you're putting it in the historical context, why are you making all these changes?
Yeah, because we know, well, I found a quote, just to add to what you're about to say, Jason. I found a quote from him where he was talking about all the historical research that they did. And it was apparently his contention. I lost the quote when I had to update and made me close Google. But my summation of his quote is that essentially his interpretation is that Ross will probably be pissed off at this, ancient history from around this time is a lot more conjecture and interpretive because they don't know for sure.
Yeah, welcome. I mean, couldn't you just reduce all history to just that then? And like,
it's
on
pretty
film?
much.
Like,
I mean, we
anything that happened
armor
more than 10 years ago,
and architecture and bodies and
well, and I was, one of the things I'm glad you brought up, like, who, oh brother, where art thou? Because it reminded me of this too. Like, we give that like leniency. And for good reasons, and it's a very fun movie. It's a very good movie. Yeah, it's great.
Watch that.
Yes, definitely watch that. It's fun. And had Nolan done a like sci-fi, 300-400 years in the future, or just like a sci-fi version of the Odyssey, or like not in an Odyssey retelling in an ahistorical setting. No, like this would like most of these criticisms would be very much like left alone. Like nobody would really care.
Yeah, no one was upset
But-
with all the Hispanic representation in Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah, because it was very or the West Side Story. Like it was meant to be that way. Like you know what I mean? Like hey, that's a really fun idea, but what if it's New York in the late 50s? Oh, okay. Hey, Romeo and Juliet's really cool, but what if it's like over the top, like show tunes, gay LA gangs? And here we have Baz Luhrmann's version, Romeo plus Juliet.
Ironically, John Leguizamo again.
He keeps showing up in these things. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But do you think maybe the expectations of this version of the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's, is perhaps a little bit colored by the very good job he did with historicity on Oppenheimer, and arguably
Dunkirk.
even Dunkirk.
Dunkirk is also very, very historically accurate.
Yeah, there's like a couple things like the paint jobs on a couple planes.
He actually
but
has
it's like,
explanations as to why.
sure, yeah, and it makes sense. It's like, well, so the people watching know, unless you're a huge nerd, you don't know.
The
But, like-
painstaking detail and effort to make sure it's accurate, which I know where you're going with this, not to bogart your point, but that's what makes it so disappointing, is to the deliberate decision to wave that aside for this film.
Yeah, like I think had those two movies, and especially Oppenheimer being the last one he did, and Oppenheimer being such a huge success, so many people saw it. I think had that not happened, maybe the expectations would be a little bit different for this. I think there'd still be problems, but I think the people would still have complaints. But I think the disappointment would be much less severe.
I think that there's a compounding there because on the one hand, they understand that he can get things really, really perfect as far as the time setting, the scenery, the costumes, everything. He can nail it. And then this is a deliberate slap in the face to that. It's like I am setting this in that time period, but I'm going to do away with all historical accuracy because I want to.
And
I was going to say earlier that it does seem that this is very much a hubris thing. We're talking about hubris. And this is Christopher Nolan putting his ego to the fore.
See,
And
I had a
I know how to
secret
do this
agenda,
better.
Jason, where I was like, in a way, instead of it being about Odysseus's pride and hubris, Christopher Nolan is the Odysseus of this situation.
It was God. Oh wait, no, sorry.
I didn't realize
Sorry,
it
I
was
didn't
him
mean to step
mocking
on that.
me. It was God. You're not wrong, Jason. In a way, my capper of this discussion would have been like it feels like Christopher Nolan is pulling an Odysseus and his pride is ruining the story. But anyway, finish what you were going to say.
That was basically it. That's where I was going with it.
Well, here's the thing, though. All of these honoring, all of these deliberate, historical, tangible things are easy to get right, and he chose not to. Now, does that make the plot good or bad? No.
No.
But those are grievances that are easy to do right.
Yeah.
Um,
They're, like you said, they're grievances that are easy to correct. They're easy to fix. That we would not even be sitting here complaining at all if he'd just been like, I'm going to do this the same way I did those other movies. I'm going to really nail the historicity of this, of the Odyssey. And then we would be down to discussing plot points. We would have been saying, he really nailed the setting. He really nailed the costumes. He really nailed the casting. But it's like one thing on top of another. It's just, not only did he get the we have these plot points, these plot inaccuracies, but on top of that, we have casting, we have setting, we have scenery, we have costuming. It's all wrong.
Yeah. All of it's wrong. So here then is the artistic argument. He's an artist, and he is interpreting a film in the way he wants to tell the story he wants to.
Yeah.
There's a quote, once again, I lost all my quotes, that I found about Christopher Nolan. And I'm going to surmise it from the interview he had, because it's a pretty long interview with a British, I'd have to find it again. Where essentially he says that dialogue is less important to storytelling than the visual aspect. And that tells me a lot about how he approaches a story, because it seems to me that what he does really well, and that's one of the overwhelming praises of the film, is the cinematography and the emotion he wants to get you to feel, and how he drags you through that. Because those who love this movie are walking away talking about the experience and not about the story. And this reminds me of the David Lynch quote about how upset he was that people would see his films on a cell phone. And that in many ways, an artist's intention of how to view and experience a movie isn't just the plot, it's the experience. And so in order to experience the Odyssey the way Christopher Nolan intends you to experience, you have to watch it in IMAX, in an IMAX theater, fully surrounded as it beats you over the head with tone and visual stimulation. And then you probably walk out of that like blown away, because you're experiencing it in the way that he designed it to be experienced. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not as susceptible to the visual storytelling as he seems to suggest that's how he wants to make movies. Because I have experienced on film movies that people like that I hated. And so I just got punched in the face for a couple of hours with the visual experience of a movie I did not like. And that's happened more than once. And then I have the experience of having seen Avatar. Like, I hate Avatar. I hate Avatar. I think it's one of the worst movies ever made. And I realized part of the experience of Avatar is the visual part. Everybody who went and saw Avatar weren't bragging about the plot or how attached they were to the characters or how blown away they were. They were bragging and blown away about the visuals. That's the only thing people talked about when Avatar came out. And I saw it in the worst way possible, borrowing it from my friend Jack, who likes sailing, watching it on a laptop in 480p. That's how I saw Avatar. And it took away all of the visual like manipulation. It took away all of the 3D and the graphics and all of that. And all I was left with was storytelling and acting. And I hated that movie. I thought it was the biggest piece of shit I'd ever seen. Avatar sucks. It sucks. But then again, I'm not viewing it the way the artist wants me to view it. And so is part of the problem is it's the Odyssey. What Christopher Nolan wants you to get out of it is more about his experience that he wants you to have, and less that he really doesn't care as much about whether or not the story's accurate. He's going to tell a story he wants to, and then he's going to punch you in the face with the awe-inspiring first movie ever filmed entirely in IMAX.
You know, now that you say that, that suddenly explains a lot of Christopher Nolan's movies to me.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there going, you know what? I never wanted to see Avatar. It just never really interested me. And then I heard about what the story was, and I'm like, you mean Pocahontas? The Disney version? Okay. That makes me not want to see it even more. But now that you're saying that he basically tries to create spectacle.
Yeah.
And everything else is secondary. That
Well,
just
To be fair,
Tells me how overrated he is.
to be fair, in his mind, visual storytelling is more important than the dialogue. Is essentially what he was saying. And that explains Interstellar. That explains Inception. That explains Tenet. And that explains why all of his movies are all just like overly convoluted plots, because I don't think he cares if the plot makes a lot of sense. I think he wants you to be blown away by the visual experience.
Yeah.
The overall emotion of the moment.
Yes. Yeah. And if you allow yourself to fall into the emotion of the moment, people are walking away, well, at least critics and people who are heavy Nolan fans are walking away with a lot of praise. But if you care about the story, and if you care about the original story of the Odyssey, you might walk away foaming at the mouth and furious as to what they've done to Greek culture.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, which one do you choose? Are you able to just lay back and just let the thing happen to you and just experience it and then just let go of your preconceived notions and fall into the moment and make it an emotional experience? But the thing is, I don't experience movies like that. Like, I'm going to be honest. It's been a while since I've had that sort of experience. And it happens more to me with character, with the well-written characters, interconnecting stories, really good plot, characters I care about. It's less of the visual experience. And Christopher Nolan seems to be a master at being able to manipulate your emotions through visual storytelling, which, to his credit, he does very well. His movies are very pretty. But when I walk in with my perhaps overly critical mind, I watch a movie like Interstellar and I was like, I don't like it. But then again, I'm not sitting there weeping alongside McConaughey as he's watching the video of his kids grow up without him and people pass away without him, because I'm still distracted by how stupid this story is. And it's a great scene and it's an emotional scene, and I get why people get emotional about it. But in the background, I'm like, this story's kind of dumb, though. I'm just saying. Anyway,
Yeah,
thoughts, Ross? I was going to ask for thoughts, and you were offering thoughts, and then I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I don't know. Like, it's hard to not just repeat what I've said, I guess, because I was thinking of, like, just the expectations. I mean, number one, this isn't just some book, right? Like, it's a very important book.
Yeah, it's not just a story.
Yeah, like, it's a very important thing. It's foundational in a lot of ways. It's the expectation of what he's made before. He can do much more historically accurate things. He just didn't want to this time. And I would argue, like, that's fine, but then you need to make it visually very interesting. And I don't think he did. I think that's perhaps one of the weaker points of this adaptation. I have hated the way this has looked from the beginning. So, like it's just, there's all these, like, it's just a culmination of so many things of, like, well,
explain why, because a lot of people are being wooed by the visuals and are being blown away by the spectacle of the film. So what isn't working for you?
well, to be that nerd, but, like, all these, like, the costuming is really bad. Like 70s or late 60s. Oh, which fucking Shakespeare adaptation was it? Like Henry V, or I don't know, one of them. There's like a really, actually, it might have been Julius Caesar, that was done in like the late 60s, and it looks visually awful. It has some amazing actors in it, right? I mean, just really big names, but it looks like a BBC historical, like medieval, like they just went and scrounged around for costumes, and they all look like they're from the 11th century.
Is your criticism inaccuracy, or is your criticism it's ugly.
Well, I'm gonna go with both because
Okay.
it's not only are these inaccurate costumes, they look like shit. Um, they just don't look good because you can have super inaccurate costumes, and we've seen so many period epics look that way. I mean that's just pretty typical. Their relationship with accuracy, historical accuracy, is pretty loose, but at least they looked good. They looked believable. This shit looks 3D printed. This shit looks Rings of Power. This looks late seasons of The Witcher. And everything just looks gray and bland and like soup. Like just gray, sludgy soup.
I'd hate to say it, but Troy was more accurate in the armor department.
Yes, I mean, it's like yes, it's still inaccurate, but at least it looks like it's real armor, kinda. Like it looks like it could stop something.
The Trojan
This
armor
shit-
looks better.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and it's. I don't know, man, and like visually to me, it just doesn't look that great. I'm sure I'm sure there's moments that look really good. I've heard that like a lot of the creature effects are try to be as practical as possible. That's great. Love that. I'm sure he's done it well, but everything I've seen of it that they've tried to sell the movie with me for me doesn't sell it. It just looks bad. And, like at least if it looked really visually great, whether it was accuracy wise or even just different, something unique. This doesn't look unique. This looks like like visually, not necessarily like the setting, but like visually it looks like cutting room floor parts of Inception. Like it looks bad. I don't understand the why. I don't know. It just looked.
We have a question from Cap Cruz. I have a question. If a generation of spectacle is not enough to maintain attention, then why is it enough for wrestling? This is different. Those are vastly different things. One is a pretty picture, and the other one is ridiculous action, stunts, and explosions, sort of visual stimulus. Nolan is trying to tell story through visual paintings, more or less.
Yeah, and he's not good at it.
Ross hates it. Yes.
I don't know, man. There's nothing I've seen of his more recently that I've been very impressed by. Like you, and famously, I mean, like Ridley Scott used to be very good at that.
Yeah.
Like Ridley Scott used to be like his first movie. I mean, there are scene after scene where you could just take a still from the scene and it looks like a painting. It looks beautiful.
Well, see,
really
that's
well
the thing,
done.
though. It's not. I'm not saying it doesn't work for me, but that can't be your only strength. If you have good storytelling, propped up by beautiful, like Lord of the Rings tells a really beautiful story, but with a beautiful visual aspect to it. But if the beautiful visual aspect, and then I don't know, Frodo's kind of an a-hole, and I don't care about Sam and trans Gandalf, then at some point I'm just going to be like, oh, this movie sucks.
Sure. And I don't know. For me though, it has none of that. Like it doesn't even have that.
It's not pretty enough for you to go, oh, this is a good looking movie.
Yeah, it's not like a movie I look at and go like, oh my god, I have to go see that. I mean, at least you know what. This is going to be funny considering. Look for our review on it on our page. War of the Rohirrim. The parts of it they showed in the trailers, I was really excited by initially.
Yeah. Another movie
hell
we
yeah.
wanted to be good, but
Oh my god! And I've brought this up a couple times over the last couple months on the podcast. But my god, I wanted that to be good because animation studios like Japanese anime style mostly of like Lord of the Rings. It's so cool. That's amazing. I love that. And I love Rohan, and it's all shit.
Yeah, I love Rohan. You know what's a really good looking movie? 28 Years Later.
28. Yes, 28 Years Later
It's
is a
beautiful
very
movie.
good-looking movie.
That movie
Mhm.
sucks.
It's really bad. It's really... Also, look for our review on this channel.
As beautiful as 28 Years Later, that movie sucks.
and that is a case of the look and the feeling that the trailers gave you. Absolutely sold that movie to Rhett and I, for sure.
Yeah.
And a good trailer does not mean it's going to be a good movie.
No.
It turns out it was a bad movie.
Megalopolis didn't succeed in either regard.
Nope, it was mostly hideous and mostly stupid.
Yeah. A lot of bloom effects in that movie.
Oh my god. The blurry gold effect was just drenched in that film. My god.
Megalopolis is also terrible. Look for it on our review on this channel.
Yeah, and good luck finding it to watch anywhere, because it's not released anywhere.
Yeah. They seem to want to bury that abomination.
Well, I think Mr.
wonder
Coppola is
why.
taking the snooty artiste route, going like, no, I only want it for special occasions under certain circumstances to be seen.
That's a movie. If I had the money and the inclination, I would consider buying just so I could you got to see this thing, and then I got to sit down
Yes.
and watch it with someone,
Yeah,
and then ask them explain what happened. Like, I don't know.
oh my god.
Inflict this movie upon you.
Yeah, I almost want to inflict that movie on others.
You go Howard Hughes and just buy copy after copy of it.
Yeah.
Buy a TV
Red is
station,
the
just
only reason
demand.
it's successful.
Yeah, just demand they keep playing it over and over again.
I'm the aviator. Anyway,
Uh,
my spruce goose will fly, and it's called the Hercules. Shut up, Ross.
Shut up about it.
It's called the
God.
Hercules.
The Hercules.
Yes, it's Eddie Murphy in multiple roles.
The roles of a lifetime, truly.
Oh, back when we used to get Norbit, now we're getting the Odyssey,
And it's
where Eddie Murphy sexually assaults himself.
oh my god, you're
He does in Norbit.
right. He does. Wow.
I would have more fun discussing Norbit than the Odyssey. Anyway, well, Silver, how important do you think it is to adapt a story? I mean, I know you've been inflicted with all of our opinions, and so you shouldn't feel obligated to repeat our opinions. But what do you think about adapting a book to a movie? Because you've read the Harry Potter movies. They're kind of a mixed bag when it comes to adaptation. Sometimes they're better than the books, and sometimes they're worse than the books.
Yeah.
I don't remember a thing about the books, honestly.
Just the movies erase the books in your brain.
I read them
Push
in
the
like the
reset
fourth
button.
grade. I don't remember them.
All right, that's fair. Anyway, do you have thoughts, or you just...
I think for the Odyssey, it is important to, keep it close. Because it's the Odyssey, as we've already stated.
Well, here's a question then that you might be able to answer better than the rest of us. There was an intention to modernize the dialogue. And Christopher Nolan felt that modernizing the dialogue would make it more accessible to younger audiences. I don't think you necessarily have to do Shakespearean British actors talking all high and mighty. But do you think modernizing the dialogue makes it more accessible in a way to a more modern audience or younger audience? Like, do you, watching a film epic from 3,000 years ago like the Odyssey and having somebody use the F word or say daddy in a film, does that help you? Does that help you?
Well, there's a degree to which I think modernizing the language is okay. Because, yeah, like you said, just doing if you put it in the way that it was written, it's like reading a book that you gotta really zone out in order to understand. That would not work for a movie, but modernizing it to a degree where you're calling everyone a baddie, you're going too far.
Well, daddy, a child calls his father daddy. And famously, they were running across the field, and Odysseus goes, "Let's go," and not run or charge. And there was a lot of criticism for that scene. That they're not charging, by the way; they're running away from something. But run seems more applicable than "Let's go." Let's go, everybody.
Yeah, you're getting too far into modern slang, I feel, when you go in that direction. But yeah,
Is it more important to make it accessible or to elevate the dialogue? I know this sounds like a manipulative question because in my estimation, you would want to, because it's such a important epic, you would want to elevate it to some degree. I'm not saying you have to speak Shakespearean, but almost reducing it to more modern conversation dialogue, I think, reduces the value and importance. It lowers it, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely modernizing it, you can go way too far. I think you should stick closer to make them sound like they're, back then. You don't have to go all Shakespearean to where it's just nonsensical to the modern audience, but
someone with a good vocabulary, not somebody hanging out at Compton or something.
Yeah. Like, I think a kid calling, like, their dad daddy in it, I think that's fine, but saying, like, an army going, go! Yeah, no.
It's such a silly line. There's so many better lines I would have written to put in that moment.
Yeah, and if they're running away, then yell retreat. If they're going for a charge,
run.
So many options rather than let's go. My God,
let's go, everybody. All right. There's been a lot of criticisms at they're all American accents, and they seem to vary in American accents. I don't necessarily think there should be a cliche that they have to be British, but I don't know. I'm not upset at the American accent. I just you grant gravitas to story by elevating the language. I don't think you grant it more importance by debasing the language or lowering it.
Yeah. See, like, I don't know. I don't remember Troy that well. Did they do just American accents in that, or did they do the British?
British.
They did the British.
Britishish. I don't recall if Brad Pitt was doing a British accent.
He did an accent, but I don't think it was super Britishy. You know what I mean?
At the very least, the language is a bit more.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me. Here's something we can relate to, Silver. Me and her watched Schindler's List recently, and there was a lot of discussion as to why the film was in black and white, why deliberately make it black and white. And a lot of people, the claim was it seemed to elevate the movie because it gave it sort of a historical weight to it, because a lot of past film was all in black and white. So it almost gave it like a weight to it, like this had happened in the past. So almost like you were looking through a window into something that quintessentially happened in the past, and it was an interesting visual decision for the storytelling. But it was meant to elevate the film to sort of the gravity of something that happened a while back. And then when they go to color, when they show people in the modern day, then you say, oh, well, that there is a bridge between the two. And as much as we might be looking at something that happened a long time ago, we are now visually seeing that it's not as long as you would think. So, I mean, there was visual elements, and then you get the girl in the red coat and stuff, where you get her standout moment because the film wants you to focus on her. that there's an intentional decision to do it to elevate the movie in its own way. But then we have the contrast with the Odyssey and everybody speak with American accents in a modern context. And I don't think the reason why I point out Schindler's List is it seemed to elevate the movie in a way contextually, whereas the other one doesn't seem to do as well. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, or your thoughts on the black and white?
I feel like the black and white worked really well in Schindler's List. Like you said, it felt like more this happened, and this happened back then, especially with it being a true story type thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that worked really well. Shoot, where was I going with this? Something with the Odyssey. Gosh dang it.
Sorry, I might have talked too much. Sometimes it takes Silver a minute to collect her thoughts. Well, if it comes to you, interrupt us. Unless it came to you.
No, it didn't.
All right.
Please keep going.
Well, scream at me, and if it interrupts you. Well, on top of that, they added... See, that's what's so dumb about it. There was effort to pretend like they are making things historical, and then there was an effort to not be historical. The composer was told he was only allowed to use instruments from the time period.
Right.
The problem with that is drums and lutes are hard to carry soft, emotional, and then dramatic in between. Like, those are not instruments that were meant to make emotional storytelling. They were instruments for specific purposes for their own time. So it seems odd to insist on being historical with the instruments in the soundtrack, even though they didn't work very well because they're not instruments meant to convey the emotions you might want for certain scenes. But then have a rap song in the credits. And it's like, what are we doing? We're either using instruments of the time or we're having rap music. Like, what are we doing? What's the intention here? Because that seems to be confused and a mess.
Yeah.
Anyway, thoughts on that?
It really, again, it just smacks of I'm doing this my way, and there's nothing you can do to talk me out of it. Because on the one hand, he says no historical inaccuracies with the music. None whatsoever. But I'm gonna litter this movie with historical inaccuracies. And then at the end, he's like, okay, now that we've gotten all that historical stuff out of the way, we're going to jump forward to the present, and here's a rap song. It's like, what? Seriously, this is all spectacle. There is no substance here. None. It's all just garbage.
Well, and that perhaps not doing a review, mind you, perhaps one of the bigger criticisms of the film is that look, I know the ending, and he changed the ending. I know the theme of the original. I've read the originals, and he's changed the theme and tone and what the story's actually about. There are certain elements of the Odyssey, the original story, that don't show up. I mean, those are case-by-case basis. Sometimes they can be distracting in a big movie. If you're going to tell a really accurate version of the Odyssey, you should probably do a series rather than one movie that, to do it right, would have been 6 hours long. But besides that, it seems to me, now you can decide whether or not you think this is matters to you or not. But it seems to me that the intention with this movie was to be subversive. Now, the reason why I say that is because he wanted to tell the story he wanted to tell, and he didn't care about whether or not it was accurate or not.
Yeah.
Helen of Troy's role in the movie is very short. And so a lot of people have waved it off as not being very important. Now, setting aside whether or not it's historically accurate is one thing. Bringing up why the decision was made in the first place is another. Because you don't cast, because everyone was like, why do you care? Why is it so important? She's not in it very long. My response would be, yeah, but she's extremely important character. So casting her in the way that you did seems deliberate. And when you choose to cast her or Elliot Page as the movie describes the greatest soldier I've ever known by Odysseus, who is actually more the core theme of the story, the character is a him. So his plot line throughout the story, because he keeps coming back as an important role. The rumors about Elliot being Achilles were wrong. But he does take the place of Achilles in the story, where instead of Achilles in Hades, Odysseus talks to Elliot. And these decisions seem more of an intention. Look, a counter to this criticism of all of these decisions are being subversive to the original story would be that Christopher Nolan has people he likes to work with, and he's loyal to the people he works with. So he likes to bring them back constantly. And he worked with Elliot at the time, Ellen, in Inception, and wanted to bring her back for this movie to play a character. But he didn't work with Lupita or Zendaya. So I don't buy that argument. Now, once again, nobody would care about these castings if he didn't pretend it was set in the time period that the story is supposed to take place. And that's the problem. It's not so much that, hey, she wouldn't have been black. It's, why did you choose to have a black woman as Helen?
Yeah. Why make this deliberate choice when the obvious choice would be to put a Greek woman in, or at least someone with Greek features?
Well, does it serve the story that she is who she is? And the superficial argument would be, well, she's the best person for the job. I'm going to tell you, you can pick anybody.
Yeah.
If her role is so small and unimportant, why was she personally so vital to the role? Why do you pick Zendaya? Because she's popular and hot right now with a young audience. Why choose Tom Holland? Because he's young and popular and hot right now with younger audiences. This movie seems less about honoring the epic of the Odyssey and more about trying to attract a young audience. You get young, attractive, popular people. You put a diverse cast in, and you change the story to something that they might connect to about toxic masculine violence and strong women and regretting your decisions and modern dialogue. And that seems to be what his intention was for the story. Now, criticisms all set aside, was it a good decision to attract audiences, assuming he's successful?
But assuming he's successful, sure, because that's going to get him more money.
Well, he's an artist. Let's assume the intention isn't money. As a storytelling point, let's say I wanted to tell a story. Artistically, it's an interesting decision to solely cater your film towards a younger audience, a silver, if you will.
Yeah,
I would say so. They're the people who are going to be consuming media for the foreseeable future. You're trying to get them on your side. It could be. It could work as a strategy. Could also
Metagaming it,
backfire.
younger people are less and less going to theaters. Could I cynically be like, this is a ploy to get young people to the theaters by putting Zendaya in it and Tom Holland?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're someone who is a Christopher Nolan, who is very much he is a true believer in a sense, right? Like he wants that industry to continue. Like
Yeah.
it is his business, like for sure.
So
Totally.
is this a pandering film to younger generations?
I would be more likely to believe that if it didn't have Matt Damon in it.
You know, it's funny. Despite the racial conversation, if none of them were in it, I would criticize Matt Damon.
Oh, well, remember when the early parts of the casting, because we didn't know about Lupita,
All of the
we didn't
other
know
stuff.
about Elliot. Yeah, but we knew about Matt Damon, and people were like,
Matt Damon.
why? Like, what the fuck? Like, nobody was pleased with that casting.
No, I didn't think Matt Damon was the right choice for Odysseus.
No. I mean, I don't know.
A dour and sad and regretful Odysseus, whereas in the book he was boastful.
Yes, and I'll be honest, most of the big white man actor names I can think of in this film are bad choices. The exception being maybe John Bernthal and maybe Robert Pattinson. Maybe. But everyone, like Matt Damon, wrong. Tom Holland, wrong. Like, just two off the bat. Big name, huge names. Wrong choices. Super wrong. But, they're names. And Tom Holland's big. And so is Zendaya, his wife.
I remember Tom Holland made a comment about working with Robert Pattinson, and he was worried about how he was going to be able to act against him and treat him like a villain in the piece. And he goes, he made it really easy because he plays an asshole really well. You want to know something interesting about Tom Holland's role? I've heard a lot of criticism about Tom Holland's acting. I saw a quote from Tom Holland, and he said he thought he was playing a 16-year-old, and he found out after that he was 22 in the movie. So he played it younger, and that might explain why a lot of people have criticisms of his acting, because he's playing it. He thinks he's playing a 16-year-old.
Hey,
why didn't the director say something? Isn't that the director's job?
The entire movie's at fault on Nolan's shoulders, so if you have a criticism, it's all him.
Also, do you think maybe Tom Holland is just completely, mind destroyed by Marvel?
Yeah, well, the biggest criticism people have about Tom Holland is he's acting like Tom Holland. It's just like Marvel Spider-Man is in the movie. He's acting like
hilarious.
Kid.
I'm not expecting him to read the Odyssey necessarily before he acts. I don't think that's per se necessary, although it'd probably be wise. I mean, the story is he's gone for 20 years, Tom. How could you be 16? Okay. Wow, that's shocking. That's a shocking thing to admit. I would go to my actor grave with that. I'm going to be honest. Because that is such a woeful misunderstanding of the source material of any translation, of just basic facts of the story. How do you screw that up that bad?
You do. You just do it.
When I heard that Tom Holland was in it, especially Zendaya, I was like, he's been, basically just doing Spider-Man for so long. I mean, what else has he done? He's done the Uncharted movie, and I can't think of anything else he's been in.
Terrible.
And so I'm like...
he was in some Netflix thing where he was a young guy running around. He's always just young man because he's got baby face.
Yeah, I think he only knows how to play one role. I'm worried about.
That fits with Zendaya because she's got stink face in every movie.
Yeah, she plays... It's like Bill Murray. She's the exact same in every movie.
Not getting an Oscar, but she's hot right now.
Yeah, permanent stank face, and that's what I was kind of worried about with Tom Holland. He works for Spider-Man, but there's not many other roles he works for because I feel like he just plays young guy. I feel like he only knows how to play one role, quirky young guy.
What's he gonna do when he ages? Like, how's he gonna handle that?
Yeah, great
He's
question.
in the midst of it right now because I don't know, like there's a lot of photos of him. Like you realize they are de-aging the shit out of him in these movies.
Yeah, and he's gonna go from young guy that works really well in all these movies to he is going to be a short man.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do with that guy? He ain't going to be able to do action movies like he used to.
Well, he's going to have to do what a lot of British actors do, and that is figure out a rough, like a tough guy, like low class East Coast.
He's
American
too short.
accent. No. Listen to me.
All right.
And like an East Coast rough, tough accent, and just be in gangster movies,
He's too short.
period piece. He's not 5'2". People were short in those movies. What are you talking about? He's not a wrestler.
Well, we'll film it all from angles like The Hobbit, so he seems like a mighty.
What, you mean
man.
like Tom Cruise? Tom Cruise is like 5'4". What are we
And
talking
I still
about
don't
here?
buy him as an action star.
Oh my gosh, I'm taller than Tom Holland. He's 5'8".
Well, I mean, you're a kaiju monster. What do you expect?
Yeah, Silver's a mighty woman.
5'7". Yeah, he's a tiny man.
Rhett, most of Hollywood is 5'10" to 5'8". He's fine.
That's fair. We're gonna have to hobbit him and fill from certain angles to make him seem mighty.
Everybody's that height.
My point still remains. We have to film him with people in distances and on boxes or something.
They're still gonna give him like the tall boots that they gave Robert Downey Jr. in the Avengers movies.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone. You'll just have to get like little high heels or something.
Yeah.
You know what I've realized?
He's gonna start juicing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Yeah,
just
that's a
make
good
him
time to do
wider
it in
and
your
not
30s.
taller.
Just, well, it's really smart to do that in your 30s, you know?
Well, no, get leg extensions. They break their legs and then they reform them.
Oh, dear God. Rhett, you know what I've just realized?
What's that?
Guess how many movies I've seen with Tom Holland in them?
What?
Guess.
3
4.
Spider-Man movies.
7.
Bupkiss. I've seen not one fucking movie with this guy. I'll see the Odyssey. That's what I'm gonna see with him in it. I've not seen Spider-Man. I ain't seen none of this shit. He's a thing.
I've seen. Wait.
In the Heart of the Sea.
6,
I might see that.
7 movies. 8 movies. 8 movies where he's in it. I'm still not impressed. Look. Just to clarify my feelings on Zendaya, I think she's a terrible actress. I think she sucks. I don't get why people like her. I don't get why they still put her in all of these movies, except for she's really hot right now with the young people. That being said, she seems like a lovely person. She doesn't say controversial things. She seems very friendly. So I don't want it to turn into a personal attack. She's just not a good actress. She's been in nothing where I was like, oh, the new Zendaya movie. Great. It's more of a, look, Zendaya's in it. Oh, no.
Nah.
This movie's going to be slightly worse for her presence. But she seems like a lovely person, all right? So just... She seems very nice.
Seems all right.
Until she says something, then I'm going to have to retract those statements.
Then she's an idiot.
Can you
Well,
make like a sorry post?
Sorry. What the BP oil spill South Park thing? Sorry, everybody.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
Sorry.
Imagine she comes out with a movie next year and it blows my socks off. It's like, oh, a movie she's amazing in. But my qualifier would be they finally put her in a movie that's right for her. Where she can show off what she can do as opposed to just be Zendaya in every film.
I think the first movie I remember her being in, and like oh, that's she's becoming an actor. She's like becoming a name. was The Greatest Showman.
Also, Ross,
the-
you are a liar.
What?
You've seen a Tom Holland movie,
What one?
Endgame.
I'm not seeing Endgame.
Didn't you see it with us?
No.
I thought we went and saw a big Marvel movie together.
It was just you, me, and Jason.
Oh, it was
Yeah, it was
Jason.
Deadpool versus Wolverine.
I'm going to keep calling you a liar until I can prove otherwise.
I've not read. I've seen like 5 Marvel films.
Have you seen Uncharted?
Nope.
Okay. Then your point still stands.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to unreasonably keep calling you a liar until I can prove otherwise.
Well, listen, I do lie about other things, but not that.
Famous liar Ross. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Now he's telling the truth. I don't buy it.
I don't believe you.
So, look, it would be easy for me to sit here and talk about the Odyssey and rail against how this movie is built specifically to enrage me. And I think I've had a reasonable discussion about whether or not this is a movie that might be enjoyable to you. If I were to give you my personal thoughts on the movie, I am very pissed off at the Odyssey. Now, to be fair, I'm not a Nolan shill. I find his movies to be mediocre, if not bad. And being very pretty is not enough to sell me on poor storytelling and convoluted, overcomplicated stories. Me and Ross had that conversation about Nolan films the other day. And that movie you watched recently, it was like, oh, it plays with the concept of time and stuff. And it's like, oh, yeah, just like Memento plays with the concept of time. And Inception plays with the concept of reality. And then Interstellar plays with the concept of reality, or of space and time. And then Tenet that plays with the concept of time. And the Odyssey plays with the concept of reality. It seems like he has a trope.
Yeah, it's interesting because I watched his first movie. Folks, I had big plans this summer, but they all fell through because of family drama. I was gonna watch all the Nolan films I haven't seen, and watch a couple of adaptations of the Odyssey and so on. But I started, and so I watched Nolan's first film, and yeah, it's interesting enough. The first 40 minutes are brutal though, but they're also super necessary. But yeah, it's things are out of order, and then it all culminates and comes together at the end, and then you see the whole picture. Like, oh my god!
The Prestige plays with the concept of reality. It seems the thing he likes to do, and that's not to say that. Here's the thing: I've never been fully angry, at least until the Odyssey. Fully angry at a Nolan film, because when I see a Nolan film, I'm not mad with my time. I think they're interesting and I enjoy thinking about the movie or whatever, but in the end, I'm not ever really blown away by a Nolan movie. Like, as much as I like The Dark Knight, I realize a lot of the reason why I like The Dark Knight has a lot more to do with Heath Ledger than it does necessarily his directing. And I realize that maybe I'm not a bit... Oppenheimer deals with the concept of reality and consequences, and oh my gosh, Nolan can't help himself. He loves time, and he just loves thinking about it.
Have you seen that hilarious quote or little story bit that was going around that Christopher Nolan said?
No, what was it?
So he said that he had removed his Oppenheimer Oscars from his office while he was writing the Odyssey so their presence wouldn't feel too daunting. But then his son comes into the room and says, "But Dad, you didn't win any for writing."
Yeah. I have heard that point where he's like, I didn't want to be daunted by the weight of the Oscars in my room and feel overwhelmed. And he's like, yeah, but you didn't win it for writing, so calm down.
Gotta have those kids there to roast you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I find... See, this is a movie that was built to piss me off because I love the original source material. I love Greek history. I would have loved a really good Greek history movie. And I like Christopher Nolan, but I find him way overrated. Way overrated. I think his movies are interesting and oftentimes poorly written. Interesting, visually neat, poorly written. That's sort of my average opinion of all of the movies I've seen of his. And I think probably the most disappointing part of this is what we could have gotten a really good movie. And that really pisses me off because it's like, you guys dropped the ball. It could have been amazing and it isn't. And instead, it's a blot on cinema, an abomination that if it were up to me, I would launch it into the sun and no one else would be permitted to see it again. That's how much I hate what he's done to the Odyssey. Now, if you're an average viewer, don't let that color anything. If you care about the original source material, this movie's not for you. If you like Nolan movies and the visual spectacle, there's a good chance you might like it. Just don't think too deeply about the story and the plot problems, because there are many. Though the purpose of this podcast wasn't to review the movie. If you want a critical perspective on the story and problems with the plot, there's plenty of other podcasts. But from an outsider who's thinking, maybe should I see this movie? It really is going to depend on where your interests lie, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of middle ground here. If you want a good Greek epic that honors the source material, this movie's not for you. And it might piss you off, but as much as it pisses me off. But if you're a younger person who wants a fun visual spectacle and apparently is a simpleton when it comes to films, much like Ben Shapiro, you're going to love this movie. Thoughts?
The thing that got me when you mentioned it right at the start was that critics seem to be coming out of the movie theaters and dropping praise like they just can't help it, like it's oral diarrhea. But I kind of wonder now, what are they teaching at film school and things? Because you would think that critics would be able to separate spectacle from plot, from character, from everything else, and be able to say, look, this movie has a big A+ in the spectacle department. But if you want anything else, go see a different movie, because you won't get anything else here. And that kind of surprises me.
I mean, not to get down the political rabbit hole, but there is a current modern attitude that's sort of a aspect of the culture war that we've been experiencing for the past decade or so, that because everything is interpreted through conflicts between intersectional groups, interpreted through power dynamics, we have had a lot of original content deliberately reinterpreted through that prism. And I think that's a travesty to do that to something written 3,000 years ago, because that's not what they were intending. And you might go, well, what are you talking about? It's like, well, The Witcher and the countless Witcher, Star Wars, Harry Potter, every major franchise, Indiana Jones, all of this has been colored by that current political attitude and the crop of writers we've had. So as much as you might roll your eyes at it, it has been a pervasive, constant drumbeat coming out of current Hollywood to reinterpret everything through the current political paradigm that they've all been pushing. It just is. And this movie is ground zero 100% within that realm, with all of the decisions that they've been making. I mean, it just is.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, oh, Ross, by the way, should people see this movie?
Uh, if you are even remotely like-minded to myself, I would say no. If you're just a huge fan of Mr. Nolan, I mean, I'm sure you're going to see it anyway, so go for it. I mean, I don't know. I don't see how, unless you are that person, what would be appealing to you, because this is like a 3.5 hour long, almost 4 hour long movie, and unless if you're a big fan of the Odyssey, I don't think you'll like it. So why would you waste your time?
Well, see, as explaining this movie to my mother, she's like, well, this movie sounds terrible. I hope it does badly. And it's like, yeah, but people are going to see it anyway. And here's where we're getting to the numbers. So I'm going to bring up the box office. Its opening weekend is great. It's done really well opening weekend. Now, for somebody like me who is angry at the disrespect to Greek culture, I don't want it to do well, but it is. And my opinion is not the maker, despite my rage about Avatar, it still managed to succeed. So what am I going to do? You know what I mean? It is about third place this year for openings. It's behind Toy Story 5 and Mario Galaxy. But it's done very well at the box office. Now, here's where we might have a bit of qualifiers for this. We don't really know how this movie's being received. And that might be like, well, what do the critics say? It's like, here's the problem. People who are obsessed with Christopher Nolan, who fought tooth and nail to get tickets, who crawled over broken glass to make sure that they could go to see this movie, we're going to go see it. And they all flooded to the theater. And by and large, that's going to explain the opening weekend. Why it's so big? Because Christopher Nolan shills were going to show up for this film. What's going to tell is if it has legs and good word of mouth. And if people receive this movie well. Because come week 2, we're going to have to see what the drop-off is. So we really don't know what normie audiences' opinions are, because everybody desperately wanted to see this movie who were going to love a Christopher Nolan movie, whether or not it is good, have gone and seen it this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that might sound like cope, but I don't think that's unfair to say, because we really don't know how normie audiences are going to take this film. We just don't.
Yeah.
However, not that I'm trying to poo-poo its success, which has been opening at success, we can look at critic scores. Now, you might go, well, it's doing amazing on Rotten Tomatoes. 95 critic score, 97 audience score. Now, if you are even remotely aware of this podcast, we have poked holes in the Rotten Tomatoes scoring all over the place because it is immensely flawed. Critics have to be specifically sanctioned, and critics, by and large, get paid through access to go to films early. And because of that flaw, and because they desire access and not to be kicked out if they do a negative review, they all tend to skew positive on films. They just do.
Yep.
Now you might go, well, what are the audience scores? Because those seem to be more reliable as to whether or not they're being received well. The problem with Rotten Tomatoes right now is audience scores. You have to sign up for Rotten Tomatoes and you have to have accounts. And to go through that obstacle means you liked the film. Because you have to prove that you saw it and you have to sign up an account. And to make all of that effort means you're a heavy shill. You're a big old fan of Christopher Nolan. If somebody hated the movie or thought it was boring, they're not going out of the way to log into the movie, to log into Rotten Tomatoes to give a score on the film. They're just not. So once again, we're being colored by heavy fans coming out, and we really don't know where average audience scores lie, especially when Rotten Tomatoes. Here's one of the biggest flaws about Rotten Tomatoes. Like a 6 out of 10 is considered fresh. So this 95, 97 counts as fresh when all of those could be 6s. So that's not really an accurate score of this is a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
All that means is it's more positive than negative. That's all that means. So it's not even a 97% quality movie. It could be a 6 movie. We don't know. But what might be more of an accurate representation is Metacritic, which in my estimation is the best way to do it because it's an aggregate. So what does Metacritic have to say about the Odyssey? Well, Metacritic, the critic scores at an 89, the average user scores a 5.1.
Huh.
Oh.
Like 1 out of 10?
Yes.
Oh.
And by and
That's
large,
surprising.
if you listen to people critical across the internet on YouTube who are being critical and analyzing the plot and stuff, the average score I found from critics on places like YouTube, which is obviously anecdotal, have been about a 5.
Interesting. That's not
That's not
ideal.
that's not the color that Rotten Tomatoes is giving us.
No.
Yeah.
So this could just be people going out of their way, but these are aggregate scores. So once again, I'm reserving our audiences thinking that this is really good until we actually get the second week reception, because we'll see if people are showing up after the first. What the drop off is. It's going to do well, whether or not I like the film, despite me or whatever, but it's going to do well. And I'm not the taste maker, unfortunately. What number would this have to do? Like, this might sound shocking, but I think it has to break even at something like an 800 million.
Oh, wow.
Ooh-wee.
So
So this could still flop.
right. So in my estimation, if it does 8 or 850, it's a flop. Because they made this movie expecting a billion. Now, I'm not saying it won't make a billion. I'm saying for it to be considered somewhat of a flop, I would say an 800 to 850 million run. Which sounds insane if you don't understand that, well, theaters take half of the money and then advertising is a huge chunk of that. And then it breaks down to, well, if they spent 300 or 400 million, they're going to have to like double that to break even because this theater takes
Right.
half. And it's funny when we're quoting the numbers if it did 130 million this weekend. By and large, most of the people seeing it are IMAX.
Oh,
And-
sure.
And IMAX, well, IMAX are premium tickets. It's like $30 or so, depending on where you are.
Nice.
And ticket prices have been going up. So you could be seeing the difference between one person paying $30 or two people paying $15. And so the number, the gain might be inflated because they're paying IMAX prices and less people are seeing it for more money, essentially.
Mm.
Which is also a qualifier idea. Now you might be going, well, these are just cope because you think the movie's bad and you hope it's bad. Hey, believe it or not, I don't want it to do well because I think it's a piece of shit. But I'm not going to be dishonest. If it looks like it's got really good legs and it's doing really well come the second week, then it is. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it.
Right.
But I'm just trying to mitigate the blowing of Christopher Nolan and how amazing the movie is by calm yourself, because Rotten Tomatoes is not a good score to look at whether or not a movie's good, and Metacritic seems to be mitigating that average audiences seem to have a lot minor. Like, to believe it or not, the average review I've seen is it's pretty and boring. That's about the average comments.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Not I hated it or all this sort of, it's mostly mid for a lot of people. It's boring and mid. Which is not the glowing reviews we got at Oppenheimer.
No.
And to be fair, Oppenheimer was, though I like Oppenheimer was kind of boosted by the Barbenheimer phenomenon. So
Mhm.
people talking about, oh, Christopher Nolan's amazing. Oppenheimer did $1 billion. It's like, oh, calm down. It was kind of, its numbers were inflated a bit because of a meme. Everybody was going to go see it with Barbie.
Barb.
Also, there's been a fair criticism when it comes to reviewing this movie or being fair about this film. Famously, Variety made a big stinking deal about how amazing the representation was in Moana and how much effort they made into closely honoring the Polynesian culture and traditions and why representation is really important. Which is funny because we then get articles coming out of Variety mocking people that complain about
The Odyssey.
the Odyssey and how the representation is and how why are you so upset that we have diverse characters and that it's like, well, if we're going to honor Polynesian culture, why can't we honor Greek culture? I'm going to read you the first few sentences here. From the team that brought you Why is Snow White Latina? Why are there black people in Rings of Power? And Star Wars has gone woke comes the latest online onslaught against an anticipated Hollywood project that committed the unfathomable sin of having a diverse cast. Where was this criticism when talking about Moana? Where is the diversity in the Polynesian movie about Moana? That's also a fake movie. That is a fictional movie. If we put white people in it, you should have also shrugged and been like, well, it's not it's a fiction. It's a fantasy. Why should it matter? Oh, we really need to respect Polynesian culture? Well, why shouldn't we respect Greek culture? And that sort of belies the hypocrisy that is Variety and the hypocrisy that is all of the people criticizing anybody that has an issue with the inaccurate racial casting. Well, you guys are just, pieces of shit who care too much about race and stuff. And it's like, well, then where is the criticism when it happens to Moana? Oh, there isn't? You're all hypocrites. If you say it doesn't matter, then why does it matter to you? Why does it have to change? Why is it so important that we have diverse casting? And I think it's because this is a white mythological tale. I think that's why. You bunch of like the words to criticize and lambast you guys would get me kicked off the internet. You are hypocritical, pompous, self-absorbed, pretentious pieces of shit. And you should be criticized and lambasted constantly. And I'm more upset that Odyssey does well and you'll smugly say, see, I'm right. Well, maybe the criticism should be that Moana wasn't diverse enough because Moana did terribly at the box office.
It did really badly, yeah.
So where's the diversity in Moana? Where were you? And then you know what the criticisms I hear from people are? It's like, well, remember all the white movies back in the day with Genghis Khan being a white man? And it's like, that was like 50, 60 years ago.
Also made fun of at the time, by the way.
Yep.
And today. I would have criticized it if it was made today. You can't point at old movies with white actors playing diverse characters and claim that, see, they did it too. Well, so what are we going to do? Just you get to do it, I get to do it, even though there's vast amounts of time between it? Is that the claim now?
Yeah.
It's a stupid argument. It's a stupid, dishonest, dumbass argument. It's bad then.
Years,
it's bad now.
In 50 years, we'll be able to remake the Moana movie, but with all white actors, and nobody will say anything because it'll be enough time.
It's stupid. It's really stupid.
It's incredibly stupid.
But no, you're going to sit there and smugly criticizing people for criticizing, diversifying the cast, and then praise how much effort to honor Polynesian culture is the Odyssey is quintessential Greek culture, but you don't give a shit. You don't care. And that makes you out to be really racist. So I'm declaring it right now. Variety is racist. It's a racist, quote unquote, news, pop culture, once magazine, now internet blog thing. And they're just really racist. Everybody. Don't read Variety. So we'll have to see where the Odyssey goes from here. Once again, the criticism is the inaccuracy, not the race. But then again, the race sort of is a backseat to a bad version of the Odyssey. Which is more important, the bad plot, the bad storytelling, on top of inaccurate casting, inaccurate armor, inaccurate weapons. Well, the weapons are not too bad, but they're not. Ross, you want to know something funny? That will cringe you? Matt Damon actually refers to the Bronze Age while they're in the Bronze Age.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he says the word Bronze Age.
Oh.
Bit meta there.
I heard somebody make the quote of like, what is this, some sort of Suicide Squad?
Oh, right, that's really stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you, some sort of sea peoples?
Oh, by the way, they refer to the Sea Peoples in the movie.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah.
That's really stupid.
They go to an island, and the people were paranoid, and they set their island on fire because they see Odysseus and his men coming, and they said, "Oh, we didn't know who you were. We thought you were the Sea People, so we burned our village down." And it's like, the Sea Peoples don't come out until later, and there was speculation that the Greeks were the Sea Peoples.
Yeah. As
that they are the Sea Peoples. Not that.
good enough.
Yeah, but the Sea Peoples are peoples who started attacking across the Mediterranean, particularly against the Egyptians and who were they? The Sumerians or?
Oh god,
The Egyptian rival at the time.
yeah, I forget what they're called now.
In the Levant. And nobody knows who they were because the Egyptians don't know who they are. They just wrote the Sea Peoples, and they basically attacked so much that the Egyptian Empire started to shrink because of how many attacks they had from the Sea Peoples.
Bastards.
Yeah, and nobody knows who they are, and they're probably ancient Greeks just murdering across the Mediterranean. And they
Going
think
through their Viking period.
Yeah. They're just basically going nuts. Well, it's possible. I've seen it suggested that it might have been a change in climate, that food became more scarce, so they were raiding south to get food.
Oh, sure.
That might have been part of the cause. But yeah, they were just mysteriously referred to the Sea Peoples, and that's been one of the greatest ancient historical mysteries, is we don't know who these people are. And it was about 1200 BC. Or
Which
BCE,
is,
if you want to be.
if you want to be wrong.
Yeah.
Which is right around the time of the Trojan War, I suppose, but
Yeah.
it's just weird that they'd be calling them the... I don't know, whatever.
Well, that's what's so funny is the Trojan War is this big invasion of Troy, and it's like, I mean, that might have been what they were doing all over the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Just
maybe.
They were the Sea Peoples, but it's funny that they refer to the Sea Peoples
That's
in the movie.
weird.
That's not a cute historical nod. That's a cringe comment of somebody who doesn't know very well about the history of it all.
Oh, it's just so blatant.
Yeah.
It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's funny you made that joke of, well, next thing you refer to the Sea Peoples, they do. They really do.
God.
Yeah, so if you know anything about history or care about the Odyssey, you're not going to like the film. Well, hopefully I've prepared you to some degree about whether or not the Odyssey is going to be for you. You may like it. But once again, it's going to have a lot less to do with whether or not the dialogue's good or the story's well written or it's honoring the source material. But you might, have your nethers tickled by booming sound and pretty visuals, which Nolan does very well. And if that works for you, that's great, man. I'm not going to yuck your yum unless I have the physical power to ban the Odyssey from existence, which I might.
We're working on it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to incite my my mutant powers, but I have to go through trauma. My mutant power might end up being I can get rid of forms of media, but I look like Deadpool. just a horror creature covered in scars. It was worth it. That being said, someone said news dump.
News Dump Online. This is for the distracted gamers. Connecting now.
I got a wicked news dump, everybody.
Oh, I gotta take a wicked news dump, dude.
Bro, I feel the news dump coming on. There's been a lot of fun news. Probably some things that could have been bigger discussions. But, you can't avoid the Odyssey. It is the Goliath that has consumed popular culture at the moment. So, we've had a lot of aftermath from the drama with Xbox, the PlayStation, all of the... We're going to be living in the aftermath of the layoffs and all the drama that's been going on. And one comment I saw from Asha Sharma is she said not to get overly fixated on single-player games becoming console exclusives because it's not carved in stone, which seems to be a little bit of a pullback of her, we need to emphasize more on exclusives. So I don't know exactly what she's getting at, but apparently it was Matt Booty explains that not necessarily the case. I wouldn't overly fixate on single player. I think that's a good rule of thumb, but it's certainly something that isn't carved in stone. So it's a bit of a mix. It wasn't Asha. She still gets praise for trying to suplex an industry that's pretty busted at the moment.
Trying to bring it back from the grave.
Yeah, we'll see.
Get rid of that banana peel that's sitting right outside that hole.
They keep tripping on it. You got to throw that thing away. So Sony's attack on physical goods has apparently spread to Crunchyroll as it adds $14 subscription requirement just to access new store experience, quote unquote. I don't know what store experience means, but apparently you have to be a certain tier on Crunchyroll to even buy things on their store.
That is so bad.
What?
It's the premium experience.
Yeah. Well, and as someone who's looked on their store, their prices aren't good. I think they're
No, they're
overpriced. I think Crunchyroll store is overpriced. So why do I have to be a mega to ultimate tier subscriber to even look at your overpriced shitty store? But yeah, whatever. I'm not the one who's in charge of Crunchyroll. That's an Indian
You
man.
probably do a better job.
So GOG's response to the whole drama with Sony's physical media going away announcement and them constantly harassing Sony over the fact was to come out and say, you don't need storefront's permission to play what you bought. GOG essentially told everybody, if you download the offline installer and you save it to a disk, it's yours forever. They will not stop you. You can make discs of the games you own on GOG.
Wow.
And I think that is a great response to the drama happening with PlayStation. It's like, if you care, go to GOG. Don't buy from PlayStation.
Wow.
They're like, just put it on a disc. It's yours.
Yeah.
And their installer does not require an internet connection. You can be offline and still play your games.
GOG is good.
GOG is good. The DRM free, great place to buy. I tend to buy older PC games on GOG.
Yeah, and because they also have a tendency to have them
Cheap.
all cheap, and oftentimes with the
Humble Bundle.
right, with the whatever, doesn't matter. I forgot what I was going to say.
A lot of the GOG games I've gotten have come through Humble Bundle.
Yeah, with the downloads to fix all the problems and make them work on modern systems. That's what I was getting at.
Okay. PlayStation declares nobody wants physical media discs anymore. Apparently, Gen Z are buying physical media as music CD sales are up 16%.
Wow.
Yeah, despite the fact you can
Nobody wants them.
stream all
Why
of
are
your
you making
music,
more money?
it seems younger generations would prefer to own their music than to stream it. At least there's an increased interest in owning. Much like the increased sales in vinyl, people seem to be trending towards perhaps owning the music, which might just be a trendy thing at the time. But
Well, I think some of it comes down to a trust issue. You know what I mean? We don't trust these companies anymore to let us have our media, especially if they're going to pull things like, you bought it, but we're going to remove it from your device for no reason that is apparent to me, other than the fact that
when it comes to
they're jerks.
Well, it comes to music, most people listen to their music on YouTube, and they can just remove the song.
That's true.
So now you just never listen to that song again.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like there's a trust issue here. We don't trust them to leave well enough alone. We trust them to screw us over at the first possible chance they get. And so having a physical copy is our insurance against them trying to screw us over.
Well, if you don't have it physical in hand, then you don't actually really own it, and they can take it from you. Let's move on. Bethesda made a bunch of announcements about the future of Fallout and the Elder Scrolls franchise. Behold the terrifying march of time. Skyrim came out in 2011 and Fallout 4 launched in 2015. Yet both games still bookend their respective series. Bethesda hasn't released a new mainline installment of its two best-known RPGs in over a decade. Starfield didn't quite scratch the same itch for many.
Didn't quite.
It caused rashes, by the way. So we got the motherload of from no comment to suddenly lots of comments from Bethesda. And on top of it, you'll get everything Bethesda revealed on the heels of layoffs that have cost the studio several design veterans from the series. Todd Howard called the layoffs a really tough part of a change to the studio. For our announcement, Fallout 5 is in pre-production, which could mean anything from a small group of developers putting whiteboards through the ringer to ideas on a napkin in Todd Howard's desk. Bethesda's active development priority is Elder Scrolls 6, which the studio says is going well despite having nothing to show 8 years after its notorious announcement. Both of the games use Creation Engine 3, the latest evolution game of the game-making software tools, resources, blah, blah, blah. We also got announcements of remasters for Fallout 3 and New Vegas, which will probably be a lot like the Oblivion remaster. Prettier, but not different. Though we don't know who's making them or when they'll arrive, original New Vegas developer Obsidian has returned to partner closely with Bethesda on the Fallout series, so they are also going to make a Fallout game. So we have, 1, 2, 3, 4 game announcements? But we really don't know what Obsidian's going to be doing. My expectation is the remasters is going to be a lot more like the Oblivion.
Yeah.
Similarly, ZeniMax Online Studios will work more closely with Bethesda proper as it continues support for Elder Scrolls Online. Though they got more layoffs. Fallout 76's 2027 expansion, Raven Rock, will act as a prequel story to Fallout 3. Mobile hit Fallout Shelter is on track for more seasonal updates, blah, blah, blah. So we've actually had news from the a gassed, empty chasm that has been nothing announced from Bethesda. So look forward to that, everybody.
I'm sure Todd Howard's so happy about being told what to do.
Well, a lot of the speculation is all of this is Asha Sharma's doing. That she looked down the road at what Obsidian was working on, and they're like, we're not doing Avowed 2. I'm throwing that away. You're going to work. The one game you're known for, you're going to do another Fallout. So we're just going to do another Fallout. So you're working on that. And then she goes to Bethesda, and it's like, it's been 10 years, and you've done nothing. Nothing. And we're still looking down a long road of, are we going to see Elder Scrolls 6? So
How far away is that going to be?
she probably kicked them in the ass, and with the layoffs, they're like, okay, this is what we're getting. We're getting remaster, Fallout 3 in New Vegas. We're going to Fallout 5. We're going to Fallout 5. And Elder Scrolls 6 is coming. It's coming, everybody. So calm down. I think this was I think in the past with Phil Spencer, he walks into Bethesda and it's like, oh, this is great. This is really, look at all the neat stuff you guys are doing. And then Asha Sharma comes by to visit and she's like, you've done nothing in 10 years. What are we paying for? And that's a good question. What are you paying for? Because if you don't have anything to show for it, we didn't get an Elder Scrolls to prop up the Xbox Series X with the abysmal library. What are they paying for? And I think that's a fair question. I saw a criticism from Kotaku where they wrote an article that Xbox is quickly becoming one of the most hated brands right now with all the layoffs and stuff. And I don't think your average person gives a crap about the layoffs. I'm going to be honest. Nope. Now, it might look bad, but I don't think we care about people losing their jobs. Kotaku, being involved in the business, might care. But I don't think they realize that we don't hate Xbox because of the layoffs. That's not why Xbox... We see it as like Xbox might be on shaky ground, maybe. I see it as the healthiest thing Xbox could be doing because they've been sucking it lately. And this seems like, oh, by the way, things haven't been going poorly. It's time we kick over the apple cart and only pick back up the good ones. And that seems to be the best interpretation. Kotaku's up their own butt if they think that anybody cares about people being laid off at Bethesda. We don't. The average consumer does not give a shit.
No, not at all.
Well, people
we
really
don't have loyalty to the individual developers that are getting laid off.
As long as we get our game, we don't care.
Yeah.
So we finally got a teaser for the Batman Part 2. If you've seen the teaser, it shows popped collar Batman standing there and slowly turning to look at the camera, and that's it. That's all you get. One of the big moments in the trailer is we got a date. And to everybody's shock, it's February 18th of 2028.
Oh, dear God.
To give you a clue as to why this is so ridiculous, we have had the entire Dune franchise in between Batman 1 and 2. And you might be going, why is it taking so long? Well, believe it or not, they've had the script ready from Matt Reeves a long time ago. Like, it was written. But it was sort of put on the back burner. Now you might ask yourself, if we had the script ready and they're filming, why is it taking so long? So this isn't my idea. I heard it on from Ryan of RK Outpost, who's heard it from somebody else. So this isn't even his idea. I just don't want to take credit for it. The speculation is because things are so tenable with James Gunn that they're waiting for him to finish his contractually obligated next Superman movie, and then he's probably gone because they're going to reboot everything with the merger. and that what's probably happening is they're waiting to release Batman Part 2 until after James Gunn is gone.
Oh,
Because that
wow.
way it's not covered with the stink of James Gunn, because he's not going to be with the company when that movie comes out.
Yeah. Sad. Very sad.
It sounds plausible.
I mean it does. That is a shocking amount of time to wait between movies, though. I mean, I get it. It is a rational choice to make to try and give that movie as much chance of success as possible. But then the question becomes, what if the second Superman movie does $2 billion? I mean, it won't.
No.
But what if?
Then they re-up James Gunn's.
And then they just release it anyway? Be like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Get it out there, and then I guess...
But
we'll
I
give
think
James
they
Gunn another
realize that
chance.
Gunn isn't doing well.
Mhm.
And I think they're going to use the excuse of the merger to have a cleanup and a reboot.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get our third Batman reboot in a handful, like 10 years.
Ugh.
Our third fourth Superman reboot. I mean, we've had 4 Superman. Well, if you count Christopher Reeves, so yeah, we're cruising on our third Superman right now. So 4th Superman reboot, yeah.
Good times. Good things are happening.
Yeah. When it doesn't work, just keep trying again, and we'll just be like, well, there's a new Superman. It's just another guy, and it's probably going to be about some guy's dog. I don't know. I really wanted to carry
And
something
Superman,
from
the
James
crypto
Gunn's era, so I made it about crypto.
God.
It's an end of an era. Marvel Comics is leaving New York.
Wow.
Yep.
Jesus.
Wow.
They're no longer being New York. The comics company is bailing and moving to Burbank, which Ross pointed out wisely before this, probably because Disney owns a bunch of property, so it's not going to cost them a bunch to put them into a studio near where Disney is.
I was gonna say that doesn't seem like a good move, but now that you say that, never mind. It does.
Yeah,
seem
that's
like a
Ross's
good
idea, but I'm going to take credit for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. They got 1 billion acres of property in California. Just shove them in a corner somewhere.
Yeah,
It's not
I'm sure
gonna
they
make
have
you
a
any money.
warehouse somewhere where they could put desks in.
Oh, fuck. A warehouse. Just a closet in an office somewhere.
An empty field.
I mean, literally, like a back room in Disneyland somewhere. Just shove them in there. I don't give a crap.
Famously, everybody, Disney does own the back rooms, and they're just going to put them in some dimension corner full of hallways and roaming
You have
monsters.
failed us for the last time.
Marvel Comics is banned to the back rooms with the shitty yellow wallpaper. Every now and then pass through a new comic through the hole, and it better be Spider-Man.
If it ain't Spider-Man, I swear to God, I'm sending you further in there.
Yeah, it's just Marvel was quintessential ground zero New York. They wrote about heroes fighting around New York and stuff, and that is not the case anymore. We are leaving New York City, everybody.
That's funny.
Call of Duty movie from Taylor Sheridan and Peter Berg will be set in the Modern Warfare universe.
Which one?
I don't know.
Well, because that's a very important question. I want to make that very clear.
Whichever one would make you the maddest.
Well, that's so the reboots then. Fuck. You know what's funny? Famously, but like Among Us, I went and replayed played the new Modern Warfares, right? Because I haven't played them. I know the first one got a lot of notoriety when it first came out, so I'm like, well, finally I'll play them. And the first one was okay, and then the subsequent 2 were fucking awful. I mean, they're really bad. And I went back and started playing Call of Duty 4, the original Modern Warfare, truly, 2007. And you know what I noticed?
Huh.
They gruffed up and like the voices of the SAS guys so much, it is hilarious in the new ones. Like they just, right, Bravo 20, going dark. Just like super gruff and like gravelly. And then in Call of Duty 4, like Captain Price is just like a British guy. Just British man. Like, oh, that's a difference, huh? I don't know. I just thought it was very funny that they had to play up this ridiculous sound to their voice, but whatever.
Yeah, maybe they're a big fan of the SAS. I don't know.
I mean, the SAS is cool, but, you know.
They're recasting Kratos for the God of War series.
Dear God.
Ryan Hurst tore his bicep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that was second runner-up for that casting is just like, hell yeah. Like, he is so stoked about that bicep tear.
Yeah. Well, nobody knows who it's going to be, but the funny thing is there have been a bunch of NFL players who have been alluding to God of War. So people are, maybe they're trolling, or maybe they've actually been interviewing like people for Kratos who are just big football players. Because a lot have been like, oh, maybe there's a God of War in my future. You know, some stupid comment or whatever. So the internet's been going to buzz looking for potential. Maybe somebody's dropping a hint that they're going to be cast as Kratos. I think it's more of a, maybe they were brought in for a reading. You know?
Yeah.
So we'll see who ends up becoming
Who needs
Kratos.
acting?
Yeah, who needs
He's a
acting?
big guy.
Honestly, I just want gruff, screamy Kratos. I don't really need emotional Kratos and baby face.
Yeah, make it like the first 3 games.
Yes.
Not the
Yeah.
subsequent 2.
Yeah, which I don't care for. And his son's so young in this. Look at the baby.
Just a little baby.
His little baby boy.
He's a tiny baby boy.
FX upcoming video adaptation. Anyway, they're making a Far Cry show for Netflix.
Yeah, and it's got oh God, what's his face in it?
Steve Buscemi.
He was Steve Buscemi. Yeah.
I like Steve Buscemi.
If they're gonna, who the hell's he gonna be in Far Cry 5 if that's what they're gonna do?
The Ghoul.
Please, what?
Steve Buscemi's version of Far Cry Ghoul. He'll be Walton Goggins.
Yep. That's what we want.
Well, look, speculation between me and Ross, who've gone down the heavy Far Cry route. Look forward to our review 6 years from now.
Yep.
The best story to adapt, the original most popular one, is probably 3.
Yeah.
Or you adapt 1, which is a weird one to do, but there's a lot more flexibility.
You know what the problem with doing 1 is, though, right?
Monsters?
There's already been a movie.
Oh, yes, the Uwe Boll,
Mm-hmm.
who famously came out with a movie that everybody hated recently.
Well, everybody
Well, yeah,
except
yeah.
a certain kind of person on the internet. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, did you see, what's his name, Army Hammer apologizing that that's not the movie he signed up for? It's a hateful movie. He's
No, I
trying
didn't
to he's
hear-
trying
Army-
to backpedal on the
Army,
movie.
baby, don't do
Just
that.
own
You-
it, dude.
Yeah, you need to, like, people already think you eat women, so don't, like, I don't know what the fuck you think how this is gonna hurt you. Like, people literally, up until 2 seconds ago, thought you were a fucking cannibal, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, why the shooting migrants movie you think is gonna make it worse.
Silver, he ate brains, by the way, Silver. And
Okay.
he admitted to it. It was more like Death Wish with migrants, like they're
Yeah,
killing and stuff. So he's
Yeah.
going after.
Yeah.
He's getting like street revenge.
yes.
But everybody's so sensitive that you can't have bad guys who are migrants and then a guy get revenge on him. Like, what happened to Charles Bronson and him just gunning his way through criminal scum? Like,
Him just shooting, random scum after visiting the beautiful Arizona and buying a gun. he comes back and shoots Jeff Goldblum in the face or whatever. I don't know.
That's where he deserves to be shot. Or the disgusting Anna Sirtis one. What's her name? From Star Trek, who hated that film.
Oh yeah, she was in what was that, 4 or 3?
Three, I think it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, look forward to your Fallout TV show.
Far Cry.
Call of Duty. They're making a Da Vinci Code series for Netflix.
Ah, striking while the iron is rusted and gone, I see.
I don't know why they phrase it as Tom Hanks's Da Vinci Code replacement and filming start window get a major update on. Like, it's not Tom Hanks's Da Vinci Code.
No, he owns it now. He bought it. It's his.
Tom Hanks's Forrest Gump recast and
Tom Hanks is Saving Private Ryan. Tom Hanks is Captain Phillips.
Tom Hanks's Apollo 13
Like, what the fuck?
series made on Apple TV. I don't know. Look forward to Da Vinci Code.
A nice boring movie for your parents to die in the nursing home too.
Speaking about Netflix, apparently there was controversy around the description under Gone with the Wind on Netflix. You might go, what are you talking about? Well, if you clicked on Gone with the Wind on Netflix, the description reads, and I quote, a 1939 American Civil War epic known for its racism. To learn more about Black Lives in America, search Black Lives Matter. This is the actual description of the movie on Netflix. It got a bunch of crap, and quietly, Netflix changed it. It is no longer the description for Gone with the Wind.
As it shouldn't be.
Great, everybody. Let's rewrite everything. Let's recontextualize everything because everybody's so incapable of handling things.
I just...
Stupid trigger warnings.
Oh, it's not even a trigger warning. It's just being blatantly douchey.
You're right. I just meant just trigger warnings in general. When Rhett was talking about conceptualizing things for the modern era, just
I can handle an old movie, you guys. I'm an adult. Yeah. I can suck it up.
I just like that they just complain about like this description, complains about racism, but ignores, the fact that a black woman won an Oscar for that film.
The first Oscar ever won by a black person was a woman in Gone with the Wind. And she's great.
Hattie McDaniel.
Yeah, she's great.
She's really good.
She couldn't get it, right? She wasn't allowed to go to the Oscars to pick up her award.
I know there's footage of her giving a speech, but I assumed it was then, but it may have been a separate thing. I don't remember.
Anyway, Danny McBride to direct a G.I. Joe movie for Paramount.
Oh, that's a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't know if Danny McBride can direct. I will tell you, I saw an interview where he talked about this, and he is a massive G.I. Joe fan.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
maybe that...
he loves the G.I. Joe. He owns all his originals, and he tried to get his kids to play with them, but they don't care, so they're proudly on his shelf.
See, I was sitting here thinking like Eastbound and Down. I was like, oh no. I saw
a funny interview, him talking about Eastbound and Down. They filmed it in a small town in Pennsylvania. You know why?
Oh, sure. Cheap? I don't know.
No. He said deliberately they filmed it in a location that had no direct flights from Los Angeles.
Really?
Because he knew that executives would want to show up and look at what's going on because there's no direct flights. It would be too much of a hassle, and they could get away with making the show without people looking over their shoulder.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay, maybe he's not as dumb as I thought.
So they chose it on purpose so that executives didn't know what they were doing. because he knew executives were going to be so lazy they wouldn't fly anywhere that wasn't a direct flight from Los Angeles,
Dear God.
which is
Know your enemy.
hilarious of a
That is
plan.
funny.
And then he said when they saw cuts of it, they demanded he change a bunch of stuff, and they said no. And then it came out, and they're like, "Okay, I guess everybody likes it. Then it's fine," because it found an audience. But I thought it was hilarious in the interview. He's like, "Yeah, we intentionally put it there just so that executives couldn't get to us easily."
That's amazing.
And it worked. They just didn't show up to see what they were doing. So there's been a lot of Paramount news, everybody.
Oh, great. Paramount news.
12 states have joined together to sue Paramount over the Paramount Warner merger, trying to stop it.
Oh,
They're very upset that this merger is happening, and they're going to try and stop it. Quotes from Hollywood are, "They are stealing our culture."
oh my gosh.
I don't know what this Paramount Warner deal means about, like, now you care about American culture. They're stealing American culture.
They're stealing terrible DC films.
Well, here's the problem. The alternative could be just Warner Brothers collapses as a company.
Yeah.
That could be the alternative. So
Let's
you're
go with that
angry at the merger, but you're going to be happy if Warner Brothers disappears. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what your plan is, but I don't think you realize this could get worse. This is the best case scenario. Would you rather Netflix own it?
They'd rather see it go down in flames than have Netflix own it.
Yeah, they would rather lose everything than see Netflix own it.
Yeah.
Yep.
On top of this, it looks like Paramount is talking about if the deal falls through, and even if it does go through, that Paramount is weighing whether or not they just leave California, which they should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Why stick around and be punished by Hollywood? Set up Paramount in Georgia. You'll get better taxes.
Seriously.
Just remove that water tower and drag it to Georgia with you. It'll be fine.
That'd be so funny.
Mm.
So, we found some really interesting numbers out of Luminate. To give you an idea, the company did a major mid-year 2026 entertainment report. And here are the numbers we got. The results are as follows. Of total streaming hours, Netflix accounts for 57%. Streaming minutes, they calculate in minutes, I apologize. Prime Video 11, Hulu 7, Paramount 7, Peacock 5, Apple 5, HBO 4, Disney 2. And the reason why this is a big thing to point out is despite the billions spent by Disney on original content that everybody hates, they still only amount for 2% of all minutes watched on the internet on streaming services.
God damn.
This tells me Disney Plus is an abysmal failure of a streaming service.
Yeah.
That is a shockingly terrible return of investment.
This is for the first half of 2026. Yes.
Good God.
I actually saw an analyst from Wall Street say that Disney would probably earn a lot more money and their stock would probably go up 40% if they just stopped trying to have a streaming service and
Licensed out their content.
licensed out all their content, because their content's super valuable. Like,
oh yeah,
like the people on the amount of people on Netflix that just rewatch over and over again Aladdin and Lion King and just their kids alone. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
That might
I
be.
mean, it makes sense, and it's how the model worked for decades. I mean, prior to streaming.
it seems like their library is more valuable than their streaming service.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, look, the reality is like, and some movie studios did invest in TV like stations and stuff, but they didn't start their own. Like they might do mergers at best, but it's just like, it's just baffling.
Final story. I don't know whose this is.
Shockingly, this is me.
Ooh,
Oh my god!
Silver.
I know, right?
What do you got to say for yourself, young lady?
So, this I just found hilarious. So, co-lead designer Baldur's Gate 2 turns down Baldur's Gate 4. And I don't blame him. Baldur's Gate 3 is pretty much impossible to follow. So basically, what's happening is, they're trying to get like a bunch of different companies to say yes to do Baldur's Gate 4, but so many of them are turning it down because they're like, no, we can't follow up how good Baldur's Gate 3 did. So, yeah, even co-lead designer of Baldur's Gate 2 is turning it down.
Well, who wants to make a worse game after the success of Baldur's Gate 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. No one wants to try.
There's a lot of pressure right there.
Well, and the company that made 3 doesn't want to make 4. They're like, oh, we're
Yeah.
done. We spent a
Yeah.
lot of time and effort
Guardian
into that.
Studios.
Yeah.
They did amazing. My gosh, there's so much content in that darn game.
I
But yeah,
still want
they
to
won't
play it.
do
I just haven't
4.
had a chance. That's an interesting article, Silver.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Nobody wants to play, or no one wants to make Baldur's Gate 4.
Suffering from success.
Well, they'll give it to a bad company, and then they'll make a bad Baldur's Gate 4.
Well, yeah, I mean, like at best, like I mean, the odds of making the better game than Baldur's Gate 3, at least in the eyes of the people, is so minimal. So at best, like the best chance scenario is you make the slightly not as good version. Like, oh, you got to be that guy, and odds are it's going to be way less well received than that.
You know what I would do? I would take it and do a Saints Row and just completely change the tone and context of the game.
Would be interesting.
Where Baldur's Gate was one thing and suddenly it's a completely different thing.
That might be the only way you could make a success.
Suddenly it's
at it.
ridiculous and over the top and it doesn't make any sense. They're like, well, I suppose you could say it does. I mean, as far as dishonoring the third one is not even remotely like the third one.
People just have a blast playing it because it wasn't what they expected.
This time it's Baldur's
still-
Gate with guns
Yeah.
and superpowers, and you're driving around Los Angeles. Just try and recreate Saints Row. I played Saints
that
Row,
would be
and I
really
created
cool.
a racist superhero.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. That's great.
What was it? The Incredible Adolf. It was Adolf if he was the Incredible Hulk. And I kept running around while Jason was trying to take it seriously, and I was like, Hulk smashed his way through Poland.
This sounds similar to your Abraham Lincoln in Fallout 76, Red.
Now I'm gonna emancipate your ass. I might have made Abraham Lincoln in Fallout 76 as a character because you could get an outfit that looked exactly like Abraham Lincoln. And then I used a lot of Abraham Lincoln jokes, and then Silver thought it was funny to execute me from behind like John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, that was great. I took out a revolver and everything, and you just go, no.
To be fair, we were trying to get an achievement for like multiplayer by killing other players, so we were just cheesing it by killing each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like the last one I needed. I'm like, let's make this historically accurate.
Yeah. And I built a base called Fort Emancipation. I'm really into the Civil War. I also made a George Washington character. That was my single player guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you did that.
Yeah, I'm a silly boy.
Silly boy.
That's where that meme, that internal meme within us, came from of delicious meats.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because was it Ross that got disgusted by you could collect meat from the bee monster?
Yeah. Yep, I remember that.
And I was like, I'm gonna eat my delicious meats, and you're like, oh, this is
You
disgusting.
can choose to basically become a cannibal.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. I think I went that route, and you're like, no!
I just remember Ross got really disgusted by the monsters.
Yeah, it's called the honey beast. Everybody, look it up. It's
gross. Yeah,
it's gross. Yeah,
Ross,
you
you
thought
gotta
the
eat
blowfly was gross.
eat its delicious meats. Delicious, succulent bee meats.
Bee meats. At least we're not bee racists like somebody we know.
Yeah.
Hey.
Silver's.
you
we found a
picked
long
that.
time ago that Silver's a bigot.
She's a
Yeah,
bigot.
but you've seen the honey beast. You agree with me.
No, I don't. They're delicious. Honey flavored meats.
A honey beast is not a bee. It is a mutated bee. It's a
Yeah,
different thing.
Silver's racist towards bees.
Regular bees. You know, the ones that keep us alive. Indirectly.
She's a horrible bigot.
Horrible bigot.
Regardless, it's been a special podcast that only we could make a discussion like we did. I was trying to find interesting ways to have a discussion because it's like everybody's reviewed the Odyssey. So you pretty much pick the people who have the opinion you agree with or the personalities. And it's like, well, let's talk about it a little bit differently. But if enjoy yourself, subscribe, and send me money. No, it's a free podcast. But subscribe.
You should send us money, yes.
And give us comments. All good for the algorithm, helps propose the podcast. Or, just be another Mr. Beast subscriber, an unspecial person in the masses. Here, if you're a subscriber, you'll be special. Perhaps denigrated like Chance, but you will be special.
Well, that's
Mr. Beast doesn't care about you.
special.
Much like Zeus, Mr. Beast doesn't care about you. Much like Jesus, I care about you. I will also criticize you for your bad decisions.
Oh my.
I am Podcast Jesus. That's not sacrilegious. I am running a parallel.
Red's turning into the Beatles. We're bigger than Jesus.
Eventually, Mr. Beast will sacrifice me for your podcast sins. And then
Right,
Jason
it's
will be
crucified.
crucified upside down.
Uh-huh.
And Ross will
The best
survive
way.
being thrown into a pot of boiling oil. And will live on the Isle of Patmos the rest of your life.
I'm Pat mowing around, you know what I'm saying?
Nobody cares what Silver's up to.
No, I'm doing great.
She'll see an angel on the road to Damascus and have to change her name. Awesome. Well, podcast has been great. I'm glad you joined us. Look forward to us next Saturday. As always, come rain or shine, or if I'm alone, because I've been abandoned. I've been forsaken.
No.
We will see you guys next week. Enjoy your week. Do something cool. Consume content that's good.
Yeah, you should.
Not bad content. Go see Troy. Inaccurate, but not offensive.
Yeah, or watch the miniseries version of the Odyssey.
Yeah.
You can see a man who's at least from the Mediterranean play Odysseus,
Yeah, there's a black woman in it, and it's not terrible, because she's not in a vital role, and she looks fine.
And yeah, she's like literally one of the hottest women on the planet. In that
Yeah,
day
she's
and
super
age.
attractive.
So, Like, not to be that guy, but also it helps that she's super hot.
Super hot. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
If you like the show, follow Rhett, Jason, Ross, and Silver, the world's most lethally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter at DG Podcast or on Instagram at Distracted Gamers. If you liked or hated what you heard here today, you can email them at thedistractedgamers@gmail.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason would care, since he hasn't any, of course.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!